ABC's Louis Martinez of the Pentagon says Russian ships are at that scene where the drone went down.
One of the officials said that it appears that the Russians may have likely picked up pieces of the wreckage. General Mark Milley, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, downplayed any intelligence value the Russians might glean.
As normal, we would take, and we did, take mitigating measures. So we are quite confident that whatever was of value is no longer of value.
A U.S. official said those measures included wiping the drone of any data and making the equipment aboard unable to function.
The Biden administration stepping up the pressure on TikTok, demanding the company's Chinese owners sell their stake or risk having the app banned in the U.S. China's foreign ministry says the U.S. has not proven TikTok's a national security threat. Shares in First Republic Bank are lower in pre-market trading. Its credit rating was lowered to junk territory amid concerns over regional U.S. banks. But analyst Art Hogan with B. Riley Wealth Management says your bank account is secure.
If you have your money in First Republic, it is still safe. There's an implicit guarantee by the feds over the weekend that said depositors aren't going to get hurt here. We're going to look at all the regional banks and make sure the depositors get their money back.
Federal judge in Texas promised to rule shortly after hearing arguments in a case challenging the most common abortion medication. A conservative group asked this Trump-appointed judge to issue an order that would revoke or suspend approval for the drug mifepristone, citing health concerns. Rachel O'Leary Carmona, executive director of Women's March, said these concerns are not genuine.
It's been approved for 23 years. There is no scientific backing for this whatsoever. I think that they're saying it and they're just hoping that people repeat it, and it's false. There is no scientific backing for any aspects of the case.
It's the most common method of abortion in the U.S. You're listening to ABC News.
My brother-in-law died suddenly, and now my sister and her kids have to sell their home. That's why I told my husband we could not put off getting life insurance any longer. An agent offered us a 10-year, $500,000 policy for nearly $50 a month. Then we called SelectQuote. SelectQuote found us identical coverage for only $19 a month, a savings of $369 a year.
Whether you need a $500,000 policy or a $5 million policy, SelectQuote could save you more than 50% on term life insurance. For your free quote, call SelectQuote at 1-800-330-1991. That's 1-800-330-1991. Or go to SelectQuote.com. That's 1-800-330-1991. SelectQuote. We shop, you save. Full details on example policies at SelectQuote.com/commercials.
Another atmospheric river washing over parts of California. In Southern California, another 5 to 6 inches of rain fell, setting off flooding and landslides. Clayton Robinson, one of the people evacuated from apartment buildings in Orange County after water washed away part of a hill, leaving the buildings in danger of collapse.
It's possible we've lost everything. We called our insurance, and they said, well, they don't cover hills going down. So all we have left is our faith in God.
Storm moving across the country has 19 states under alert for snow, floods, and strong wind. Several people were hurt after a massive tree branch fell on them at the San Antonio Zoo.
Cell phone video captures the chaos moments after a branch estimated at 1,500 pounds fell to the ground.
You hear people screaming.
A zoo official insists that the cedar elm was in good health, but arborist George Cardenas saw signs of decay in aerial video of the broken limb.
This part of Texas, with the drought and the weather conditions, some of these trees, they have a hard time adapting to this environment.
5 adults and 2 children were hurt. One child was said to be in critical condition. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
Paleontologists have identified a new dinosaur that had a neck longer than a school bus. They say the plant-eating dinosaur's neck bones may have been hollow, and it likely lived about 162 million years ago. This is ABC News.
This is an urgent announcement for anyone that's $10,000 or more in debt. Total Financial Freedom can help you become debt-free in months instead of years. Resolve your credit card debt, signature loans, department store cards, internet loans, and timeshares. Call Total Financial Freedom now at 800-208-1312 for a free consultation. You have the right to get your debt resolved and substantially reduce your monthly payments. Call Total Financial Freedom now. 800-208-1312. Call now.
Brian Clark, ABC News.
Does that old tractor or lawnmower have more electrical tape or duct tape holding it together than you want to admit? Well, maybe it's time to see Phil Sheehan and his staff at NC Tractor for a new Massey Ferguson tractor or mower. Massey Ferguson is a company that's been around for over 175 years. That says a lot about a company. And paired with Phil Sheehan, who's been in business for over 25 years, that says a lot about his Phil and his staff. Knowledgeable about their product, and they stand behind every sale. Massey Ferguson is the last tractor you'll ever need. NC Tractor, a dependable and reliable company that'll be there after the sale. NC Tractor on Railroad Avenue in Rutherford.
It's going to be another cold night across the area tonight. Temperatures will fall below freezing again. We'll have clear skies tonight with temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s. Thursday, we'll have plenty of sunshine around again, but it's going to be a warmer day. Highs climb into the middle to upper 60s. Partly sunny skies Friday, a couple of showers possible. It will be windy with highs in the low 70s. For the North Carolina News Network, I'm meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in the Weather Center.
Well, by the weekend, it looks pretty good, too. Partly cloudy skies with highs near 56. West and northwest winds 15 miles per hour with gusts as high as 24 miles per hour. That's on Saturday. And Saturday night, mostly clear with lows around 28 with wind chill value as low as 21 with wind gusts as high as 25 degrees. Right now, we are 30. We've dropped below the freezer-locker mode at 30 degrees, but warming up nicely to about 63 for a daytime high today. We'll have those death announcements in just a few moments. There are several of those, so we're going to do those after Bill O'Reilly morning update this morning. I do have these local news stories, though. If you get an email saying you owe a ticket from the Spindale Police Department and go buy cards to pay for this ticket, don't do it. This is a scam. If you did get a ticket from a Spindale officer, you go to the courthouse to pay for the ticket, and you'll know if you got a ticket. If you owed for a ticket, it would be a letter from the clerk of court's office with official stationery. Do not go buy gift cards or give out your bank account information to anyone saying they are from the Spindale Police Department. They don't operate that way. There are a huge amount of people out there just trying to find a way to get to your bank account and to your money. They have more time on their hands than I do, so keep your information to yourself and don't give out any information that might be private for you. And do not go buy one of those cards. You did not win a prize. If you did, it would be notified with a certified letter. Meanwhile, the dropout rate for Rutherford County schools is improving, according to an article in Daily Courier. The most recent statistics show that for the 21-22 school year, the RCS dropped rate was 2.79%. Assistant Superintendent Renee Collins recently reported the latest dropout data to the Rutherford County Board of Education. The 2.79% is a decrease of 0.42 percentage points, which is a 13% decrease. That's an improvement over the previous year. The lowest recorded rate over the past 15 years was for the 2019-20 school year at 1.14%. Collins said this was followed by a dramatic increase, in part related to the COVID-19 pandemic in the 2021 school year. The rate in 2021 was 3.21%. So to calculate the dropout rate, the number of students who dropped out is divided by the total number of students enrolled during the reporting year, which is the 20th day membership, plus those students who dropped out. But the dropout rate has improved after the pandemic spike, according to Renee Collins. Meanwhile, the 13th annual Leader of the Pack 5K race will be Saturday, May 6th. The Rutherford County Schools Education Foundation made the official announcement yesterday. The event aims to support initiatives such as the RCS Backpack Program, which provides weekend food for students in need, Project STEM, robotics, and helping hands for homeless students. Chick-fil-A is once again this year's presenting sponsor. Organizers say the Leader of the Pack 5K will provide participants with a fun and healthy way to support the RCS Education Foundation and its mission. Participants will be able to run, jog, or walk the 5K route. The event will feature music, food, and festival atmosphere. The cost of registration is $10 for students, $25 for adults, and early bird registration is available until April 24th. So that might be your opportunity to get back out again and walk or run or trot or jump on one leg across it, whatever, to make way for helping somebody out. It's time now for the Bill O'Reilly Morning Update. We'll get to that. We'll come back and we'll have the death announcements for that community, which there seems to be a lot of those.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater from the podcast Politics by Faith, filling in for the great Bill O'Reilly. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. But first, a word.
If you are a timeshare owner, you're probably upset that your yearly dues continue to increase. Lone Star Transfer guarantees the release of all liability to your timeshare in writing and done in a specific time frame. They're the only company you can trust, having helped more than 18,000 owners legally and permanently get out. So please call Lone Star Transfer 855-551-7066 or visit LoneStarTransfer.com.
Hey, I'm Mike Slater, filling in for Bill O'Reilly. On this Thursday morning, I am thinking about gravitas. We all know about the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank, but another bank that just failed was Signature Bank. Now, some videos have come out of the employees and executives making these internal music videos and musical, like, show tune sketches. It just seems weird. One employee said the management team was basically like the show The Office. They'd waste money on things like producing parody videos. Now, I don't mean to be a stick in the mud. I'm all for team building and boosting morale. But also, you need to run the bank. And you can do all this team building stuff, but it can very quickly veer into silly town real fast. You lose respect because you're not serious people and everyone knows it. We don't have men with gravitas anymore. This is the root of the criticism of Pete Buttigieg. He lacks gravitas. It literally means heavy. It's where we get the word gravity. But it means serious, important. It's the opposite of trivial, frivolous, silly. For instance, when Pete Buttigieg wore loafers to the train wreck disaster site among men who were wearing work boots, that sends a message of silliness. It sends the message that this is someone who doesn't understand the weight of the moment, the importance or seriousness of the moment, someone who can't fill the role of the job. And you can't fake gravitas. You can only earn it. Loafers at a disaster site, I mean, that's the perfect metaphor. He can't fill the shoes, and he's even wearing the wrong shoes for the job. If we demand more virtue, we'll get more serious people in power. More coming up.
No question, there is a concerted effort to intimidate and silence conservative thinkers and replace our God-given individual liberty with big government controls. AMAC, the Association of Mature American Citizens, is the leading conservative advocacy and benefits organization in America. AMAC gives you access to exclusive benefits and all kinds of great content. Please stand with AMAC at amac.us. That's amac.us.
I'm Mike Slater from the podcast Politics by Faith. This has been the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition.
12 minutes after 7 o'clock on this Thursday morning, I have these death announcements this morning. Joyce June Robbins, age 87 of Forest City, died Sunday, March 12th at Community Hospice in Jacksonville, Florida. The funeral service will be held 11 o'clock Saturday, March 18th in the Pageant and King Chapel. Burial will follow in the Sulphur Springs Baptist Church Cemetery. The family will receive friends from 10 until 11 prior to the service at Pageant and King. The Pageant and King Mortuary is in charge of those arrangements for Joyce June Robbins. Laura Jean Gibson Owens, age 56 of Henrietta, died Monday, March 13th at her home. A memorial service will be held at 3 o'clock Friday, March 17th in the Pageant and King Chapel. The family will receive friends following the service in the chapel and the Pageant and King Mortuary and Crematory in charge of the arrangements for Laura Jean Gibson Owens. Arthur Robert King, age 83 of Rutherfordton, died Wednesday, March 15th. Those arrangements are incomplete and will be announced by the Pageant and King Mortuary. Again, that's Arthur Robert King. Sudie Jenkins Shepard, age 90 of Bostic, died Tuesday, March 14th. Those arrangements are incomplete and will be announced by Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service for Sudie Jenkins Shepard. Birch Mitchell Sutton Jr. passed away March 12th at the age of 69. Those arrangements incomplete and will be posted by Eggers Funeral Home of Cliffside for Birch Mitchell Sutton Jr. Gary Douglas Wood, age 36 of Bostic, died Sunday, March 12th. Those arrangements are pending and will be announced by the Paget and King Mortuary and Crematory. For Doug Wood. Linda Wall Price, age 80 of Cliffside, passed away Friday, March 10th at her residence. In accordance to her wishes, no formal services will be held, and Harrelson Funeral Home is serving the family of Linda Wall Price. Joseph Joey Ernest Sims, 63, passed away Monday, March 6th, while at his home under hospice care. Friends and family are welcome to attend the Celebration of Life service to be held 3:30 to 4:30 today at Robert Morgan Rutherford Chapel, Fairhope Street, Forest City. Robert Morgan Rutherford Chapel of Forest City is honored to serve the family of Joseph Joey Ernest Sims. Russell Ernest Tobin, age 84 of Forest City, died Wednesday, March the 8th. The Mass of Christian burial will be held at 12 o'clock noon today at the Immaculate Conception Roman Catholic Church. Burial will be at a later date at the North Cemetery in Burlington, Massachusetts, and the Paget King Mortuary and Crematory is in charge of the arrangements for Russell Ernest Tobin. Ann Sanders, age 79 of Kannapolis, passed away Sunday, March 12th at hospice of the Carolina Foothills. The funeral service will be conducted at 5 o'clock today at the Harrelson Funeral Chapel. The family will receive friends 1 hour prior to service time at the funeral home. Burial will be private at Elizabeth Baptist Church Cemetery in Shelby. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services is serving the family of Ann Sanders. Tina Walker, age 62 of Forest City, passed away Sunday, March 12th at Spartanburg Regional Medical Center. A memorial service will be conducted at 3 o'clock Friday, March 17th at Harmon Street Baptist Church. The family will receive friends 1 hour prior to service time at the church. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Service is serving the family of Tina Walker. Sue Lewis Williams, 95 of Rutherfordton, passed away Monday, March 13th at Accordius Health. A memorial service will be held at a later date, and Crow's Mortuary is assisting the family of Sue Lewis Williams. Mrs. Kathleen Holcomb Paris, 98 of Mooresboro, died March 12th. A graveside service will be held at the Rutherford County Memorial Cemetery Tuesday, March 21st at 1 o'clock. And Eggers Funeral Home of Cliffside is serving the family of Kathleen Holcomb Paris. James Jed Doggett, age 59 of Lake Lure, passed away March 1st. The family will receive friends at 10 o'clock Saturday, May 6th. That's May 6th at McMahon's Funeral Home in Rutherfordton. The celebration of life will be held at McMahon's on Saturday, May 6th at 11 o'clock. McMahon's Funeral Home and Cremation Service in charge of those arrangements for James Jed Doggett. And Herb John Ackroyd, age 72. Celebration of life will be held Saturday, March 19th at McMahon's Funeral Home. And Herbert's remains will be buried at the First United Methodist Church Prayer Garden. The family will greet friends after the burial at McMahon's Funeral Home and Cremation Services in charge of the arrangements for Herb John Ackroyd. And those are the death announcements we have this morning. For complete information on these and others, as they become available to us, we'll have those at 11:30 this morning, and then again at 5:10 as part of the afternoon Call Around the County newscast. 18 minutes past 7.
On March 15, 1881, the Benson Tombstone stage was held up. Although not intended as such, it ended up being one of the causes for the OK Corral shootout. On the other hand, the two intended objectives of the holdup were not accomplished. The main objective was the assassination of Wells Fargo shotgun guard Bob Paul. Paul had gone to work for Wells Fargo and as a guard had hampered the activities of the Cowboys. The word around town was that he was to become the Pima County Sheriff, so the Cowboys wanted to get rid of him. The assassination failed because when the stage departed Tombstone, stage driver Bud Philpott had gotten stomach pains, and Bud had exchanged positions with Paul. Orders were to kill the guard, which they did, but it was Philpott instead of Paul. Bob Paul was responsible for the robbers not accomplishing their second objective, the theft of $26,000. When Philpott was shot, Bob grabbed his shotgun and fired off both barrels. One robber was killed, and the noise of the shotgun spooked the horses. As the stagecoach was careening out of control, Paul climbed down, secured the reins, and brought the stage safely into Benson. Later, Bob Paul became the Pima County Sheriff. This 6'6", 240-pound mountain of a man, using a shotgun, brought in bad guys, stopped lynchings, and hanged many a man legally. It always seemed that he was able to dodge that fatal bullet. That is until 1893, when he couldn't dodge the one called cancer. He died on March 26, 1901. You've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesay.
Hi, I'm Vivica Fox. For more than 100 years, American Humane has been helping our best friends in their worst times, during hurricanes, tornadoes, and increasingly, wildfires. They're real heroes to these animals. But Mother Nature isn't the only danger that animals face. Sometimes it's human nature that's the greatest threat. Each year, more than 6 million beautiful adoptable animals are being abandoned, and more than 1 million are euthanized before they can be rescued. These animals need heroes too. Heroes to open up their hearts and homes and to give them the love they deserve. Be a hero to an animal in need. Consider becoming an American Humane Rescue Volunteer or adopt from your local shelter. Visit AmericanHumane.org to find out how you can be a hero and help our best friends in their worst times.
All right, 7:21. Let's see what else we can find out about the county and the news that's going on. And we turn first to the Sheriff's Department, and Sergeant Brendel is on the phone to give us an update. Good morning. How are you doing today?
Good morning, sir. I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well for a Thursday morning. Glad it's finally Thursday.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As long as, if it warm up a little bit, we'd be doing better.
Well, you're right. I'm ready for that myself. What's on the report today?
Past 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office has answered 195 calls, processed 15 arrests, and currently have 168 incarcerated. Under our arrest reports, we have a Christopher Scott Kimball, 37-year-old white male, Boston, charged with operating vehicle, no insurance, fictitious tag, and no license, given a unsecured bond on that. We have a Angela Crystal Danielson, 50-year-old white female of Ellenborough, was charged with second-degree trespassing, given a written promise to appear. We have Michael William McMahon, 43-year-old white male of Rutherford, charged with 1 count of felony probation violation and 7 counts of failure to appear, given a $11,500 secure bond. We have a Richard Allen Evans, 43-year-old white male of Lake Lure, charged with trafficking in methamphetamine, possession with intent to sell and deliver marijuana, and possession of heroin, possession of firearm by felon, and possession of drug paraphernalia. No bond listed at this time on his. Under our incident reports, we have a damaged property from Webster's Way in Mooresboro. Looks like somebody damaged a door and a living room window in that incident. And we have a misdemeanor larceny that occurred US 221 North. Looks like suspect took some chains, I guess maybe some logging chains in that incident, and that's all we have this morning, sir.
Sergeant Brundle, thank you for that report, and I hope you're safe out there and keep us posted on what's going on, and I'll see you next time.
Will do. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. 24 minutes after 7 o'clock here on WCAB's Morning Report.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Many taxpayers are angry over the property reevaluation that came out recently, and we'll have a property owner in with me this morning at 8:30 to talk about that and why they feel so upset over that, and we'll discuss it in depth at 8:30 this morning. And here's Marie with the 911 Communication Center with our report. Marie, go ahead. What's on the report today?
Okay, in the past 24 hours, the Rutherford County 911 Communication Center has processed 500 911 administrative calls, which consisted of 56 for EMS. For law enforcement, the Sheriff's Department had 195. Forest City had 86. Lake Lure had 6. Rutherford had 36. Stendal had 38. For fire calls, Cliffside responded to a brush fire. Forest City responded to a residential fire alarm. Green Hill responded to an illegal burn. Sandy Mush responded to a illegal burn. Stendal responded to a brush fire and a power line fire. And that's all I have for the morning.
Thanks, Marie. You have a good day.
You too.
Wayne's Lunchbox can satisfy the pickiest of eaters at lunch or dinner or supper, whatever you want to call it. You can enjoy salads, sandwiches, a limited meat and veggie menu at lunchtime, and then for supper, your choice of a meat and vegetables. And Wayne's will be serving breakfast for supper the first of each month. Call on Wayne's for any catering event that you may have, offering catering service, so stop by 391 East Main Street in Spindale. Call 828-395-2225. Open Monday through Thursday, 11 until 2, for supper, 3 until 7.
Here's Ruby Taylor now reporting from Danieltown. Ruby, good morning.
Good morning.
What's on your report today?
Well, the fire department didn't have any calls, and on my birthday counter I got Mickey Mosley and Jerry Ficklin having birthdays, and Mr. and Mrs. Keith Ezell's having an anniversary. Hope all these people have a nice day. Sun's in the east today and going to the legs tomorrow. That's all I got.
Thanks, Ruby. Enjoy your Thursday.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush, brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
When you want the best wireless experience, Carolina West Wireless makes it easy to go for it. Go for a better network. Go for great customer service. Go for bigger savings. Right now, save $400 when you go for an iPhone 14 Pro on a Plus or Premium Unlimited plan. Or get the whole family to go for unlimited data, just $25 per month per line on 4 lines with AutoPay. Try us risk-free for 30 days. What are you waiting for? Go for it and go stay connected. See representative for details or visit carolinawest.com/terms and conditions. Offer expires March 31st, 2023.
All right, we're going up to the mountains now, around Chimney Rock, Lake Lure, Bills Creek community, and Chris Bell is going to give us a guide around there, see what's been going on. Hi, Chris.
Hey, Jim.
How you doing this morning?
Doing great.
Good.
Well, there's no calls to report today, so that's good.
That is good.
But had some good weather yesterday, so can't complain. I think we're supposed to get up to 60s again today.
Yeah, should be nice.
Yeah, before we get a little rain, but looking forward to that nice weather.
Yeah. Well, the month's getting gone. This is halfway through now, almost, and we'll be rolling into springtime for sure before you know it.
That's exactly right.
So might as well get ready for it.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Chris, we appreciate you being with us, and thanks for reports, and I'll see you next time.
All right. Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
DeVern Upton from Boston, North Carolina. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. It's getting closer to Friday.
It sure is. Looking forward to it.
Me and you both. Our temperature is 28 degrees over here this morning. Fire department had no calls. Food boxes will be given out today from 9 to 12:30 at Washburn's Outreach off Piney Church Road. Friday night fires revivals be Friday night at 6:30 at Faith Baptist Church there in Forest City. Pastor Brian Melton invites everyone out. And then food boxes will be given out March the 25th there at Faith Baptist Church from 8 to 10 a.m. And then from there we'll go to the motels and hand out hygiene bags and food and some clothes. And if you need any bee supply, we have a bee supply store here in Boston on Depot Street. Go by there and check her out. Don't forget to get your green out for tomorrow, and hope everyone has a wonderful day.
You have a good day too, Yvonne, and I will see you tomorrow with green.
Okay.
Have a good day.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Of course, I guess that means St. Patrick's Day is tomorrow. Is that about right? I haven't even looked ahead. I believe that's about right. See how many people wear green tomorrow. Well, the property owners throughout the county received a bit of a shock recently when they got their official property reevaluation in the mailboxes. Many made their concerns known at the commissioners' meeting last Monday night. Chairman of the commissioners talked about it the next day on the radio program. And now this morning at 8:30, we'll have one of those landowners, one of those property owners that wants to discuss this with us, and we'll announce a meeting coming up. They're planning for public comments on this reevaluation and hopefully no tax increase. We'll talk about that at 8:30 this morning. Right now, though, we're going to talk with Robbie over at Rutherfordton and Hudlow Fire District. Robbie, how are you this morning?
I'm doing good, Jim. I hope you are.
I am indeed.
Well, good. It's looks like it's going to be another beautiful day. The sun rolling around. So.
Yeah, I can handle those days.
Me too. It's going to warm up, and everybody maybe can get out a little bit today and enjoy it and get some fresh air. But, Jim, with the fire departments, they was somewhat kind of calm. Hudlow, they had a wreck first thing this morning about 6:30 on Highway 64, right there at Oscar Justice Road. So be aware of that. Maybe the traffic being a little backed up through there this morning. So Rutherford, we stayed quiet through the night. So hopefully we can continue that today. Also, the town, I was going to let everybody know, Rutherford has a little newsletter they put out through an email once a month. It's called the Yellow Sun. If they would like to go to rutherford.net and sign up for that newsletter, they could read some of the news that's happening through town and the surrounding towns through the county as well. They do little articles. And it's pretty good little newspaper to read. It kind of informs you about some things that's going on. So, also, the town's going to, or not the town, excuse me, they're going to have a Cars and Coffee in town on Central Street Saturday from 8:30 to 11 a.m. Go out and get you some coffee and maybe talk to some of those folks that do car shows and do a little collecting and stuff. So it's a pretty neat little program, or a neat little thing they do out there. So.
And where's that going to be? Where's that going to be?
This Saturday, March the 18th, on Central Street.
On Central Street. We had a call yesterday about that. We don't have any information on that here, so we couldn't really tell them the specifics. But it's going to be on Central Street, and that's Saturday.
Yes,
it'll be a car show and coffee.
Yep, that's right. It's just it's nothing real big. It's just a small little coffee and classic car talk. So.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah, and it's getting a little bigger and bigger. And as far as folks coming out and just talking, and especially the ones that collect and do stuff like that, I think it's a good thing. So.
Sure.
And also, the last few days we've had a few people call about some of our blue signs, address signs. So keep that in mind. If you need an address sign or need smoke detectors, come by Rutherford Fire Department or give us a shout. We can give you some information on some of that stuff as well.
Sounds good. I like the way that you do guys reach out in the community to help.
Yeah, we try our best to get out. I mean, them smoke detectors is very important, and a lot of times those address signs, they help a lot, because during the night, dark, trying to find address on the mailbox don't show up as good as those blue reflected signs. And
yes,
it really helps. I mean, like I said, seconds count, not minutes count, but seconds is more important than minutes. So the quicker we can get to you, the better off you will be as well. So.
Yeah, and you issue those, I guess, just for the town of Rutherford and citizens, right?
We do the town of Rutherford, and it's for our fire district as well. Okay. And if you do not live in our fire district or city limits, we'll still get you a sign. The only thing that we do is we charge $15 a sign, and that's just more or less to cover the cost of the sign. And you can get a metal post as well if you don't have a mailbox.
Yeah.
It'll come with a metal post. So.
Oh, good.
So all you got to do is just talk to us, and we'll get you all the information you need and get you set up and get them blue signs out rolling.
Sounds good, Robbie. I appreciate you doing that, and appreciate you being with us. And I hope you have a great day.
Hey, I hope you do as well, Jim.
Thanks.
Take care.
Bye-bye. It's 7:35. Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City. Not many of these kind of stores around, but we're proud they are here. Glad they're here all the time. And it's locally owned businesses like the Drop-In Family Mart there in Bossy. It is locally owned, and they keep the store supplied, stocked up well, and they have such great personal service. If you're one of those folks who need help getting in and out of your car with your groceries, they'll help do that too. They got a great service. They got a meat market, fresh meat market back there. It's cut the meat the way you like it. Fresh produce market, a wonderful deli. They're serving breakfast right now, as a matter of fact. So go by and support them and let them know you're proud they're in their area. That's Drop-In Family Mart there in Bostic, between Bostic and Sunshine on the Bostic Sunshine Highway. And here's Sue Price reporting from Cherry Mountain Fire District. Sue, what's going on over there?
Good morning, Jim. I think it's been quiet over the years, as far as I know. I hadn't heard anything from them, so that's a good thing. And I only have one birthday today, and it's on First Broad's calendar for Janie Sanders. I hope Janie will have a good day. And in my announcements, the Fairview Baptist Church will be having revival. It starts Sunday, the 19th, and goes through the 22nd. Sunday night service will start at 6:30, and Monday through Wednesday starts at 7 p.m. So looking forward to a good revival. They're going to have a different preacher each night, and so that's a good spring revival coming up. We all need reviving, don't we?
Always.
Always. And I guess that's about all I got this morning, Jim. It's just quiet and calm, looking for a good day, and I hope you'll have one.
Thanks, Sue. I'll see you tomorrow.
All right. Bye-bye.
Cheryl, I've been talking to Tommy and David, the outside salesmen at Henson Building Materials in Forest City. They're going to help us navigate through our remodeling project.
Well, I know they have tons of experience, so we'll be in good hands.
Good hands is right. Even professional builders shop there because they trust the quality products and service.
And did you know they have a great relationship with our community, too? Oh, they're so nice.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street, Forest City.
Building starts here.
All right, let's check on Tina White up in the Shingle Hollow area this morning, see how things are. Tina, good morning.
Good morning, Jim. Things are pretty good up here in Shingle Hollow this morning. It's just chilly. We've sat right on 30 degrees all morning.
Yes.
But the sun is up and day is breaking, so we'll see what the temperature will do today. It looks like it's going to be a pretty day, but just a cold one. The fire department, they were all quiet the past 24 hours, and we have birthdays today for my Uncle Larry Hunt, friend Eileen Griffey. And on Pilgrim Way's calendar, we got Miss Erin Harris. So I hope all these have a very happy, happy birthday. This Saturday, the 18th, Piney Knob Baptist Church is having a wild game supper at 5 p.m. Everyone's invited to come out to that. And then on the 19th, they're having a community singing here at Piney Knob Baptist Church from 3 to 5 p.m. There will be a love offering taken up for to help sponsor the youth camp the youth to go to camp this summer. And let's see, Mountain Creek Baptist Church, they are having their barbecue fundraiser this Saturday from 4 to 7 p.m. Adult plates are $12. Children is 6 to 12 is $6 a plate. There's also takeout plates available. They have pulled pork barbecue, both red and white slaw, potato salad, hush puppies, and homemade desserts. So that is at Mountain Creek Baptist Church. And White House Community Center is selling the Boston Butt. $45. You get the Boston Butt, a pint of slaw, red or white, and a pint of sauce for $45. And you can get an extra pint of sauce for $3. The pickup date is April 7th between 4 and 6 p.m. And you can call 755-4319 for that. And tomorrow evening, 7 p.m. at White House Community Center, the Desert Sun Band, which features the Fire Chief at Green Hill, Tony Sullivan. They'll start at 7. They say come out and enjoy good music and support the community center. So a lot of things happening up in this area. And one more, the Concealed Handgun Safety Course. April 1st starts at 8 a.m. at the American Legion Post 74, which is the old Green Hill School, started to say store. But you can sign up at Green Hill Store. The sign-up's there at the register. Or if you have any questions, there's a number listed on that as well. There will be food and drinks available for purchase during the class. So if you're interested in a concealed handgun safety course, the instructor is Kevin Lovelace. He's a real good instructor.
He is.
I think that's all I've got this morning, Jim. Like I said, a lot going on up here in the community, and thankful for that.
Yes, you're loaded with information this morning. I'm glad to hear that, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
You too, Jim. Everybody stay safe. God bless you, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.
See ya.
Does your financial advisor take the time to really listen to you? Is your financial strategy personalized for you and your family? Will your financial advisor be there as your life and financial situation change? Hi, I'm Andrew Tisdale. When we work together, we focus what's important to you. We create a personalized strategy backed by our advice, our tools, and resources to help you reach your goals. And we partner together to help your strategy stay on track no matter what happens. Contact me at any time at 828-287-9197. We'll sit down, talk, and we're going to make a strategy that's right for you.
And Brenda Kelly's up next in Union Mills with our Thursday morning report. Hi, Brenda.
Good morning. How are you on this tremendous Thursday morning?
I feel good.
You feel good all over?
I do, better than anywhere else.
Well, that's good. I feel pretty good except from my neck up.
Oh, my.
I've got allergies. I don't know what set them off. And I've had allergies a little bit, but my allergies was more allergic to something and you break out.
Yeah.
But now, this season, it's just been terrible. I don't know. My throat will get scratching, my sinuses are drained, and then I can't hardly talk. I sound like I'm in a tunnel.
I've heard more and more people this year talk about and complain about allergies that they've never had before. I don't know what it is.
I don't know either. It's just, I think it's because everything bloomed all at one time, and we just couldn't handle all of it at one time.
Yeah.
All that pollen. And I forget who it was talking about. I believe it was the man up at Lake Lure, but I'm not sure about springs next month, and everything would be blue. Well, everything's done bloomed out. Spring was what, from February to March, and now we got winter.
Yes, and months always crazy messed up. March winds were in February.
I know it. It ain't no wonder the basketball people call it March Madness.
That's right. That's right. Exactly right.
But anyway, we hope everybody's having a good day. Let's see, I've got 26 degrees on the front porch. I don't have but one birthday today, and that's Johnny Daddle, so I hope he has a great old big day on his special day. And in ways of announcements, Piedmont Pleasant Hill Clubhouse, Spaghetti Supper and Salad Bar, 4 p.m. to 7 p.m. This will be Saturday, the 18th. Adults is $8. Children, 12 to 6 is $4. And 5 and under eat for free. Then Saturday, March 18th, Union Mills Learning Center, 6 p.m., hot dog meal, and the cost is $6. 7 p.m., they'll have Carly Airwood for the entertainment, and there's no admission, but you do have a tip jar available for the band. And so far, that's all I know of going on. So.
All right, Brenda. Well, you have a wonderful day up there.
You have a good one. You get down to Ellenburg and check on Luther, and we'll talk to you later.
See you, Brenda. Bye-bye.
Catch you.
Well, a good stop by Washburn General Store will make everybody feel good. And if you're thinking about spring, thinking about gardens, go get your seeds from them. They got a big load in already, and they always, it's been a tradition for them to have the best seeds and the best arrangement and supply of them for a long time. I remember my friend Ed, when he was alive and running the store, he used to tell me all the time about how many seeds they would get in. They're continuing that tradition. So go by and get your spring seeds from Washburn Store. It needs some work gloves. They got those as well. Overalls, all kinds of things, pots and pans and nails and hammers and candy. And it's just an amazing store. I want you to go by. If you've never been, shame on you. Go by sometime this weekend. Washburn General Store. At 7:46, and we'll get to Ellenboro in just a moment.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
Now here's Luther Gilligan reporting out of Ellenboro with some news this morning. Luther, good morning.
Good morning. It's good morning down here this morning. Coffee's good. Food's good.
I'm glad you're up and at 'em already.
I'm going, but it's quiet this morning. I'm going. The fire department had 2 medical calls. I had one of them yesterday, one of them yesterday evening before bedtime. So today I got to sleep all night. So everything going good with them this morning. Don't want my everybody chicken pie dinner going on over at the United Methodist Church Sunday. Be right after service is Sunday, about sometime 12:30. They'll get wind up, start serving food. Everyone's invited. Just come on down and have a good lunch and all that. So you have a great day up there, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.
All right, Luther, thanks so much. You enjoy your day over there.
Do what?
Enjoy your day over there.
All right, I'm going to have a great day.
See ya. Bye. Well, it's time for birthdays and anniversaries now for the 16th day of March 16th. So call it to us now. The phone lines are cleared. 287-3356. Birthdays and anniversaries can be called in to us right now. While we think about having lunch maybe with some good friends that we'd like to be with, or if you'd like to be by yourself. But I suggest that you try the lunch at Granny B's someday. Maybe a Tuesday through Saturday would be a good time. And you got a good choice of the kind of sub that you like. And top it off with one of their donuts. My. It's so good. So enjoyable. Nice people. Locally owned. And I want you to go by and try Granny B's sometime this week.
Happy birthday.
I want to wish a happy birthday to Michelle Bridges, 58 today from Dobbinsville, USA. So happy birthday to Michelle. Glad you're sharing your birthday with us, and I hope you have many, many more happy birthdays. Piece of Confident Living coming up here in just a moment, and then we'll take you down memory lane with a couple of classic oldies before the 8 o'clock hour, so stand by. Remember at 8:30 this morning, we're going to be talking about the revaluation of your property taxes and what can be done about that, if anything.
In the 11th century, King Henry III served the people of Bavaria. Life was not all ease and comfort. King Henry became tired and weary of the task of being king. Opting for what he saw to be a less stressful and noble calling, he applied to Poor Richard for entrance into a local monastery. "Your Majesty," said Prior Richard, "do you understand that the pledge here is one of obedience? That will be hard because you have been a king." "I understand," said Henry. "The rest of my life I will be obedient to you as Christ leads you." "Then I will tell you what to do," said Prior Richard. "Go back to your throne and serve faithfully in the place where God has put you." Today you may be faced with the fatigue and boredom of a job that seems to be going nowhere. You are exhausted and wish someone would stop the world so that you could get off. Retreating to some remote and isolated spot on the globe sounds so inviting. "If only I could escape the pressures of responsibility," are the words running through your mind. However, you may be just where God has placed you. It is in serving others that you find your greatest fulfillment. The mantle of leadership has fallen on your shoulders, just like it was on the person who preceded you. Bear this responsibility with courage and a sense of hearing God say, "Well done, thou good and faithful servant." This is Bill Hostler with today's Key.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. We'll learn this morning how many Americans filed for unemployment claims over the last week and whether the European Central Bank plans to raise interest rates. All this amid the recent turbulence in the banking sector.
Citigroup falling over 5%, JP Morgan Chase 4%, and Wells Fargo losing more than 3% yesterday. Now, we're not necessarily talking here about those banks going out of business, just the idea that banks will face a tougher road ahead with increased regulation, interest rates climbing, and a desire to take on less risk.
That's ABC Chief Business Correspondent Rebecca Jarvis. The U.S. military released video of a Russian fighter jet spraying fuel onto a U.S. drone and hitting its propeller. This happened over the Black Sea, and as Russian ships try to recover wreckage from the drone that was brought down in the sea, General Mark Milley, the chair of the Joint Chiefs, says operators were able to wipe sensitive information from that drone.
So we are quite confident that whatever was of value is no longer of value.
There's new pressure on TikTok as ABC's Elizabeth Schulze says the White House is telling the company that if its Chinese owners do not sell their stake, popular app could be banned in the United States.
The demand marks an escalation from the administration as the White House looks to resolve national security concerns about the app, with many worried the Chinese government could force TikTok to hand over Americans' user data. The director of the FBI last week said the app, quote, screams of security concerns.
Federal judge in Texas heard a challenge to the most common abortion medication in the U.S. A conservative group wants that judge to issue an order that would revoke or suspend approval for the drug mifepristone. There's no timetable for a ruling, but ABC's Mireya Villarreal in Texas says
this is likely to face an appeal regardless of the outcome. It would eventually end up in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals, and some are even predicting it could go all the way up to the U.S. Supreme Court.
You're listening to ABC News.
Texting enrolls you into recurring automated text messages. Consent not required to purchase. Message and data rates may apply.
Hey, Dan, how you doing? Haven't seen you around the gym for a while.
Yeah, I've really fallen off. Since I turned 40, I just don't get the results I used to get.
Could be lower testosterone.
Lower T?
Yeah, I went through it a while back. Once you hit 40, your body has less free testosterone. I got Nugenix Total T, and it's made a huge difference for me.
I've seen that ad on TV. Is it for real?
Oh, yeah. The patented key ingredient is something called Testofen, which helps boost free and total testosterone levels to help you trim up and stay lean.
And it's made a difference for you?
Man, I feel like I'm in my 20s again, at work, in the gym, and in the bedroom.
Are they still giving out complimentary bottles for people to try it for themselves?
Yeah, you just need to send them a text.
Text PRIDE to 42424 right now for your complimentary bottle of Nugenix Total T, the #1 selling testosterone booster at GNC. Plus, text now and we'll include a bottle of Nugenix Thermo, our most powerful fat incinerator ever, to help you get back into shape fast, absolutely free. Text PRIDE to 42424. That's PRIDE to 42424.
The storms that swamped parts of California with several more inches of rain are now pushing across the country. 19 states from Arizona to Michigan are under alerts for everything from heavy snow to high winds. Along the East Coast, a nor'easter dumped several feet of snow in New York and New England.
Two teens from Massachusetts are lucky to be alive. The two 15-year-olds, one a skier and the other a snowboarder, rescued in what's described as an extremely remote area in Princeton. They got trapped in chest-deep snow but were able to call for help.
Once we reached them with the snowcat, we were able to get the two kids that were pretty cold inside the heated snowcat to warm them up and get them down off the mountain.
The phone they used had just 9% battery. Lionel Moyes, ABC News.
North Korea's carried out another missile test as the leaders of Japan and South Korea meet. ABC's Britt Clennett has the latest from Hong Kong.
This is the third launch this week. Japan says it was a long-range ICBM. Those are those missiles that are capable of reaching anywhere in the continental United States. This one traveled more than 600 miles for about an hour before landing in the Sea of Japan.
Fans of the New York Mets may not be fans of the World Baseball Classic. The team's star closer Edwin Diaz hurt his right knee during celebrations for Puerto Rico's win over the Dominican Republic Wednesday night. He had to be taken off the field in a wheelchair. Diaz will undergo more tests today. This is ABC News.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for Greatest of All Time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Brian Clark, ABC News.
Cold temperatures will be with us again tonight. It will be another night with temperatures below freezing. We'll have clear skies with temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s. Another bright day Thursday, plenty of sunshine and a bit milder with highs in the middle to upper 60s. A mix of sun and clouds Friday, a couple of showers around. It's windy and warmer with highs in the low 70s. We expect widespread rain overnight Friday into Saturday. I'm meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in the Weather Center.
Thank you very much, Amy. Good morning again, everybody, from 8:05 on this Thursday morning as we broadcast the third hour of the morning wake-up call. Right now, we're reading 30 degrees. According to Peter, the meter reader, it's 30 degrees outside, and we'll be warming up nicely to about 63, but we'll have some wind gusts about 22 miles per hour today. And tonight, dropping back to a low around 44 with some wind gusts about 18 miles per hour. So it'll be cool again enough, but not as cold as last night, I don't believe. That earlier forecast was an earlier forecast, so it's not accurate. Right now, it looks like they've changed that somewhat. But toward the weekend Saturday, partly cloudy with the highs near 56. West-northwest wind to 50 miles per hour with gusts as high as 24 miles per hour. Mostly clear with a low around 28 Saturday night. Wind chill value as low as 21. And wind gusts as high as 25 miles per hour on Saturday night. Sunday looks good, mostly sunny with highs near 51. We got some news from here and there coming up in just a moment. We're all about saving every dime these days, aren't we? Stretching dollars is everything in today's households. Stop giving the big box stores all your hard-earned money. Stop at Jay's Discount Grocery on Oak Street in Forest City. Jay's has thousands of merchandise at incredible low prices. Fresh produce every week, your choice of top-quality meats, canned food, frozen favorites, ice cream, snack foods, cleaning products, dog food, and so much more. The big box stores only want your money. It's small-town folks like Rick that care about the little people, like you and me. Shop Jay's Discount Grocery, Monday through Wednesday, 8 to 7, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, 8 to 8. EBT card and debit cards are welcome. That's Jay's Discount Grocery, 671 Oak Street, Forest City. Good store over there, good folks that run it, too, and we support our local neighbors when we shop local. I want to remind you of this again. We want to say this several times to get your mind going with it, and so you can pass it on to other people. If you got an email saying you owe a ticket from the Spindale Police Department and they want you to go buy cards to pay for this ticket, don't do it. That's a scam rather. If you did get a ticket from a Spindale officer, you go to the courthouse to pay for the ticket, and you'll know if you got a ticket. It'll be very obvious. If you owed for a ticket, it would be a letter from the clerk of court's office with official stationery. Do not go buy gift cards or give out your bank account info to anyone saying that they're from the Spindale Police Department or anyone else as far as that goes. If you say you won a prize and you know you didn't enter a prize category, don't go to Walmart and get a card. There are huge amounts of people out there just trying to find a way to get you. They have more time on their hands than you do and I do, so keep yourself informed of this and don't let that happen to you. If you have any questions, contact the local officials. Meanwhile, as you know, the Rutherford County Commissioners said Monday night there will be a reduction in the county property tax this year, and property owners throughout the county received a bit of a shock when they found their latest official property revaluation in their mailboxes this year over the past couple of weeks. Many made their concerns known at the commission meeting, and still others are talking about what are they going to do. Well, the Commissioner Chairman Brian King said in an open statement the property reevaluation came in much higher than expected, and so they're going to be tinkering with that budget to keep the taxes down, they say. But there's going to be a meeting set up for public input, not by the county commissioners, but by citizens who are concerned about it. We'll be talking about that this morning at 8:30 with a property owner who is concerned about the reevaluation and sort of have something to do with setting that meeting up. So be sure to tune in this morning at 8:30, and we will talk about that reevaluation and what might happen in days to come. A lot of needs out there, and the government has to be funded, but there's certainly a better way of doing it than jacking up the reevaluation so high, because we got to live with that for a while. Meanwhile, in other news, 10 young ladies will be featured in this year's Distinguished Young Woman of Rutherford County program. The event will be held Saturday, March 18th at the Foundation Performing Arts Auditorium on the campus of Isothermal College, beginning at 7. Distinguished Young Woman is a free program that encourages participants to reach their full individual potential. It was founded in 1958. The DYW mission is to empower young women by providing over $1 billion in scholarship opportunities, connecting with a nationwide network of women, developing their self-confidence and participation in DYW life skills, workshops that prepare them for success after high school. This year's Distinguished Young Woman contestants are all high school juniors, and they are from Chase High School, Rosalind Enriquez and Abril de la Cruz from East Rutherford High School, Cora Goforth, Aleia Moore, and Mary Grace Tisdale from R.S. Central High School, Mackenzie Hughes, Madeline Hughes, and Ashley Warmick, and Zoe Hodge, and from Thomas Jefferson Classical Academy, Addison Lane. The Distinguished Young Woman event will also celebrate Maria Teresa Barros Gilberto, the current Distinguished Young Woman representative from Rutherford County. Other special entertainment that evening will include last year's first finalist, Bunny Jackson, and second finalist, Julia Lane. Tickets to attend the event are $25 at the door. Well, if many of you I know have gone to Spartanburg, you've gone to the big mall there in Spartanburg. Well, according to the Channel 7 News, the Spartanburg Police Department is looking for suspects wanted for a break-in at a jewelry store at the Westgate Mall. According to the department, on March 6 at approximately 8:46, the police were called to Queen's Jewelries at the mall in reference to a burglary. Police said the owner of the business received an alarm notification to his business after store hours. The owner reviewed his Nest cameras on his phone and saw 3 suspects stealing jewelry from the display cases. The owner said over $1 million is in high-end merchandise was taken, including gold chains, watches, rings, and bracelets. At this time, there have been no arrests, and anyone with information is asked to call the Spartanburg Police Department. Many of you probably passed by that jewelry store many times while you're in that mall. Meanwhile, Pat Jove is writing in the Courier about there is some controversy as to whether Rutherford County produced 1 or 2 Medal of Honor recipients. Jerry Crump, who spent part of his childhood in Sandy Mush, is unquestionably a child of Rutherford County, but Bryant Womack's picture hangs in the county courthouse along with Crump's because Womack allegedly grew up on Clark Road near the Polk County line and attended school in Polk County because of a school bus route. This background on Womack comes from Keith Price, a member of American Legion Post 423, which has worked for years to get recognition for both these guys. According to Wikipedia, Womack was born and raised in Mill Spring, a Polk County community, and is buried in a Mill Spring cemetery, but Clark Road does run into parts of both Rutherford and Polk counties and terminates in the Cooper Gap Township, which is on the county line road. Either way, Price believes it's fitting to honor Crump with the naming of the new local Veterans Clinic, as the Army Hospital at Fort Bragg is named for Womack. Womack won the Medal of Honor for action he took on March 12, 1952. His medal commendation reads in part, Private First Class Womack was the only medical aid man attached to a night combat patrol when sudden contact with a numerically superior enemy produced numerous casualties. Private First Class Womack went immediately to their aid, although this necessitated exposing himself to a devastating hail of enemy fire, during which he was seriously wounded. Refusing medical aid for himself, he continued moving among his comrades to administer aid. While he was aiding one man, he was again struck by enemy mortar fire, this time suffering the loss of his right arm. Although he knew the consequences should immediately aid not be administered, he still refused aid and insisted that all efforts be made for the benefit of others that were wounded. Although unable to perform the task himself, he remained on the scene and directed others in first aid techniques. The last man to withdraw, he walked until he collapsed from loss of blood and died a few minutes later while being carried by his comrades. Price said the new clinic will be dedicated on Memorial Day this year, and he hopes veterans will be given a prominent role to play in the ceremony. The 13th annual Leader of the Pack 5K race will be Saturday, May 6th. The Rutherford County Schools Education Foundation made the official announcement Wednesday. The event aims to support initiatives such as the Rutherford County Schools Backpack Program, which provides weekend food for students in need, Project STEAM, and robotics and helping hands for homeless students. Chick-fil-A is once again this year's presenting sponsor. Organizers say the Leader of the Pack 5K will provide participants with a fun and healthy way to support the RCS Education Foundation and its mission. Participants will be able to run, jog, or walk the 5K route. The event will feature music, food, and festival activities. The cost of registration is $10 for students, $25 for adults, and early bird registration is available until April 24th. Speaking of the Rutherford County schools, it was also announced the dropout rate for Rutherford County schools is improving. The most recent statistics show that for the 21-22 school year, the Rutherford County schools dropout rate was 2.79%. Assistant Superintendent Renee Collins recently reported the latest dropout data to the Rutherford County Board of Education. The 2.79% is a decrease of 0.42 percentage points, which is a 13% decrease, which is an improvement over the previous year. The lowest recorded rate over the past 15 years was for the 2019-20 school year at 1.14%. The rate in 2021 was 3.21%, so an increase there. Improvement in the dropout rate. It's 16 minutes after 8 o'clock.
Matt Mahan's Funeral Home and Cremation Services in Rutherfordton has been a family business since 1953, offering care, dignity, honor, and unique opportunities for families to create a healing moment after a loss. John McMahon and his fine staff bring experience coupled with perspective to help in paying tribute in a traditional or unique way. Call 287-4715 or visit online today at www.mattmahansfuneralhome.com. There, you can view current obituary information or pre-plan for yourself or loved ones. Matt Mahan's Funeral Home offers healing to the community through burial and cremation services, grief support, whether it's a funeral or a memorial service. Matt Mahan's Funeral Home and Cremation Services knows the importance of ceremony and will guide you in honoring the life and memories of your loved one. Call Matt Mahan's Funeral Home and Cremation Services today at 287-4715 or visit them at 249 South Main Street in Rutherfordton.
You know, I know many of you love yard sales, a lot of yard sales, and I know a bunch of you enjoy Anchor Down because it's kind of like an indoor yard sale, except much of the merchandise is new. You heard me say new, and listen to this. Clothes and shoes, 50 cents, pocketbooks, $1. Anchor Down carries small kitchen appliances, electronics, furniture. There are deals all over the store. They get a new load every week. And sure, you may have to step over an item to get to another one, but that's part of the fun of browse shopping, isn't it? Anchor Down is located at 155 West Main Street, right downtown Forest City, across from Carolina Chiropractic. Anchor Down is open Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 10 a.m. until 3. They're open today and will not be open again until next Tuesday, so be sure you get there today and check the store out and find out what you can buy and save, and new merchandise galore, shoes all over the place. Ladies' purses, and they have a section there for pet supplies. Just a great store. You'll enjoy shopping. Anchor Down, right downtown Forest City. We'll have that sheriff's report with Sergeant Brandel again in just a few moments. My friend Glenn Millett sends me things. I tell you about him all the time. He writes an editor and does a blogger. America was involved in Vietnam for 20 years. Our presence started small, but by 1965 had significantly escalated. 3.1 million troops saw combat and at least 58,300 were killed. We spent over $120 billion from 1965 to 1973, which led us to an oil crisis and rapid inflation. Are you better off today because America fought in Vietnam? Are you safer? America spent over $2 trillion fighting in Iraq and Afghanistan. Then we hurried and pulled out of Afghanistan, leaving hundreds of millions of dollars in vehicles, buildings, bases, and weapons to be used by the Taliban. The country is now in shambles. Girls are not allowed to go to school beyond the 6th grade. Women are treated horribly by the Taliban. What did we do to help Afghanistan? Are they better off now? Are we better off for our 13 years in that country? We invaded Iraq. We lost over 15,000 active service members and contractors in Iraq and Afghanistan. Take a look at Iraq and Afghanistan today. What did we accomplish? We approved $113 billion in aid to Ukraine in 2022 alone. Most Americans do not want Russia to succeed in conquering Ukraine. Efforts to help Ukraine have been supported by most Americans. How far do we go? How much can we afford? How long are we able to keep this up? Does this become another Afghanistan? American troops are not there yet. When will this happen? When do we start fighting in Taiwan? China wants to control Taiwan. Taiwan is rich in resources and technology, like Russia wanting Ukraine because of its proximity and resources. China figures it just makes sense for them to control neighboring Taiwan. China is reportedly on the verge, if not already, sending military arms to Russia. As America depletes our own defense, stockpile of missiles, tanks, and more, China knows we will have less to send to Taiwan. We have recently sent 200 soldiers to Taiwan, and more will be going in a short while. It is scary to ponder how many more will be going in the next year or two. In the middle of all this, who is really profiting from America's forever wars? The military-industrial complex will continue to make hundreds of millions of dollars with no end in sight. Manufacturers of mass weapons used in war have no end to their financial gains. Politicians who own stock in these massive companies only stand to get richer and richer. How many thousands of shares of stock in these companies do our long-term senators and representatives own? Stopping or slowing our military aggressions around the globe would mean their stocks would go down and their massive financial fortune would be diminutive. Politicians should not be allowed to buy stock while in office. Before running for a political office, they should be required to cash their stock out so they are not financially persuaded to promote the success of certain industries. If they would support a war and see how many lives are endangered or killed because they own stock in a company, they ought to be brought up to trial. We don't want Ukraine to fall to Russia or Taiwan to China. However, what will our country have left to fight with after we have spent billions of dollars defending them? If your livelihood comes from investments in the massive military weapons cell industries, then you're probably spending most of your time counting your money. GlennMollett.com. If you'd like to subscribe to his newsletter, it'd be Glenn Mollett, MOLLETTE.com to subscribe. He's read several books also. Went to same school, we graduated from the same college is what I'm trying to say. Not the same time, but the same college. All right. Sergeant Brando was with us early, gave us a report from the Sheriff's Department, and here it is.
Past 24 hours, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office has answered 195 calls, processed 15 arrests, and currently have 168 incarcerated. Under our arrest reports, we have a Christopher Scott Campbell, 37-year-old white male, Boston, charged with operating vehicle, no insurance, fictitious tag, and no license, given a unsecured bond on that. We have a Angela Crystal Danielson, 50-year-old white female of Ellenborough, was charged with second-degree trespassing, given a written promise to appear. We have Michael William McMahon, 43-year-old white male of Rutherford, charged with one count of felony probation violation and 7 counts of failure to appear, given a $11,500 secure bond. We have a Richard Allen Evans, 43-year-old white male of Lake Lure, charged with trafficking in methamphetamine, possession with intent to sell and deliver marijuana, and possession of heroin, possession of firearm by felon, and possession of drug paraphernalia. No bond listed at this time on his. Under our incident reports, we have a damaged property from Webster's Way in Mooresboro. Looks like somebody damaged a door and a living room window in that incident. And we have a misdemeanor larceny that occurred US 221 North. Looks like suspect took some chains, I guess maybe some logging chains in that incident, and that's all we have this morning.
WCAB Rutherfordton.
We've got an update on sports coming up here in just a few seconds away from right now. Remember, at 8:30 we'll be talking about the reval of your property taxes. your property and the taxes that may go up. Taxpayers voice anger over property reevaluation. We have a guest in the studio that will be talking with us about that. He's a property owner, and we'll discuss it and how it means, what it means to you and me. So stand by for that, all straight ahead.
Sports. I'm Nate Saunders. Pitt gets past Mississippi State 60-59 in the NCAA First Four, and Isaac Mushila had 15 points and 12 rebounds as Texas A&M Corpus Christi held off Southeast Missouri State to earn their first NCAA tournament win in program history.
The first games of the NCAA tournament are in the books, with two of the first four games in Dayton Tuesday night. In the opener, Texas A&M Corpus Christi got 22 points from Jalen Jackson as they held off Southeast Missouri State's comeback bid for a 75-71 win. The 16-seed Islanders next get number 1 Alabama. In the nightcap, Pitt survived 60-59 over Mississippi State as Jamarius Burton hit the game-winning shot with 9 seconds left.
When I had the ball in my hands with the last 30 seconds or so, I just told myself I was built for it. I just got to a spot and let it go, and I had complete confidence in myself.
The 11-seed Panthers play Iowa State next. Josh Roundtree, AP Sports.
The first round of the NCAA men's basketball tournament begins today. 3 number 1 teams will be in action: Kansas, Alabama, and Houston. Number 5 gets Oral Roberts tonight at around 7 p.m. UNC Asheville plays the late game around 10 o'clock against number 2 UCLA. Wolfpack fans, NC State will play their game against Creighton tomorrow. On the women's side, 2 play-in games tonight, including Purdue versus St. John's. The winner of that game will play North Carolina. The Wake Forest women host Morgan State in the NIT tonight. NFL free agency moves on Wednesday. Looks like the Carolina Panthers got their big-name running back, as reports say they plan on signing former Eagles star Miles Sanders. The Chicago Bears signed former Panther backup quarterback P.J. Walker. The Panthers also agreed to terms with former Cincinnati Bengals tight end Halen Hurst. The Panthers plan to select a quarterback with the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. Jacoby Brissett has also agreed to terms with the Washington Commanders on a 1-year contract. I'm Nate Saunders, NCN Sports.
Coastal Agribusiness has partnered with the Plant Sciences Initiative at NC State to join interdisciplinary science and technology to benefit growers and consumers. Jim Whitehurst is president and CEO of Coastal Agribusiness.
Coastal is in a unique position with our client and customer relationships. They desperately need new innovation. We can share those with our customers and hopefully make them more successful in the future.
Learn more at coastalagro.com. Coastal Agribusiness, solutions for a productive future.
Join PBS North Carolina as we explore the world around us through stories that illuminate and moments that inspire. From PBS favorites like Masterpiece to local programs that celebrate our state and people. From educational resources for kids to emergency briefings that keep us secure. PBS North Carolina offers endless possibilities for discovery and wonder. Follow your curiosity at pbsnc.org.
And longtime Green Bay Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers has plans for the 2023 season.
Rodgers wants to be wearing a different shade of green.
I made it clear that my intention was to play, and my intention was to play for the New York Jets.
On the Pat McAfee Show on YouTube and SiriusXM, the 4-time NFL MVP says there are no hard feelings.
My side, love and appreciation, gratitude for everything that Green Bay has done for me. Love, so much love and gratitude, and just heart open for the Packer fans and what it meant to be their quarterback.
The 39-year-old Rodgers says Green Bay is holding up a trade with the Jets. The Packers appear ready to move ahead with 2020 first-round pick Jordan Love at quarterback. I'm Ed Donahue.
That's another legendary quarterback from Green Bay going to the Jets. I'm Nate Saunders. You're listening to NCN Sports.
Cold temperatures will be with us again tonight. It will be another night with temperatures below freezing. We'll have clear skies with temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s. Another bright day Thursday, plenty of sunshine and a bit milder with highs in the middle to upper 60s. A mix of sun and clouds Friday, a couple of showers around. It's windy and warmer with highs in the low 70s. We expect widespread rain overnight Friday into Saturday. I'm meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in the Weather Center.
Right now we're 31 degrees, beautiful day, shaping up outside with a sunrise. It's finally arrived, and it's beautiful out here, getting up to about, looks like about 63 for a daytime high today, with some wind gusting about 22 miles per hour. Then tonight, dropping down to around 44 with wind gusts as high as 18. Rain coming tomorrow and tomorrow night, rain and clearing out here again for Saturday, but cold weekend ahead of us. We have a discussion coming up here in just a moment about the revaluation of your property and mine, and we'll talk about that in just a moment.
When you want the best wireless experience, Carolina West Wireless makes it easy to go for it. Go for a better network. Go for great customer service. Go for bigger savings. Right now, save $400 when you go for an iPhone 14 Pro on a Plus or Premium Unlimited plan. Or get the whole family to go for unlimited data, just $25 per month per line on 4 lines with AutoPay. Try us risk-free for 30 days. What are you waiting for? Go for it and go stay connected. See representative for details or visit carolinawest.com/terms and conditions. Offer expires March 31st, 2023.
It seems everywhere you go anymore in the past few days or answer the phone calls anymore, it seems like folks are talking about the recent reevaluation of property. If you're a property owner, a small property owner, or maybe on hundreds of acres, you were affected by the great increase of the reevaluation that just took place. And the concern is, how's that going to affect our taxes? The commissioners in their meeting the other night said, we're going to make sure the taxes do not go up this time. Well, it's worth talking about, and with me in the studio right now is Theo, who's been looking at this, and he is a property owner, as many of you are that's listening, and he studied this, and we'll talk about it, and about a potential community meeting that may develop. Theo, welcome to the Blue Room.
Good morning, Jim. Thanks for having me in. I appreciate the opportunity to talk about this.
Now, you've looked at this quite a bit. This reevaluation, was that a little bit higher than normal for the? I know we're very prosperous in this area. We got lots of money and all that good stuff.
Oh yeah, tier one county. We got lots of money. It took us all by surprise. I've been getting phone calls, text messages from some of our seniors, some of our folks that are on limited income. It's very concerning, and that's how I got involved. So we've been talking about it over at the Republican Party. Yesterday I had a pretty decent conversation with our vice chairman, Carl Napolitano. And what we're trying to do is set up a town hall style meeting with people that have serious concerns, that want to ask serious questions. Eventually, this is going to affect all of us in this community. And people want answers. I don't have the answers. I'm not a financial guy, but I am being affected just like everyone else is. In my particular case, I posted how it affected us. It's at 42.23% increase. That's the proposed increase. That's a huge number. And although we know our value of our properties have gone up, you can start to see that starting to come down now on the backside of this with the collapse of the banks and with the interest rate continuing to climb. And as inflation climbs, less and less people are qualifying to borrow the money, and less people are moving forward. They're holding off. They're trying to keep a hold of their own financial situations. I mean, they're being affected. Here's what it comes to. These poor folks are being affected in so many ways. Electricity costs nationwide, we're seeing a 12.9% increase. Natural gas, 14.3%. Grocery bill is gone up by 10%. Chicken prices, 8.8%. Eggs are the big surprise here. 55.4% nationwide is what we're seeing increase. A loaf of bread's gone up 15%. Then you take into effect here in North Carolina, you've got state taxes. You've got property taxes, including on your vehicles that you own. You've got sales tax of 7% and gasoline tax. We are paying one of the highest in the United States for gasoline tax. So you take all that into consideration with the higher prices, the taxes, and then you get this big surprise in your mailbox. People are starting to ask questions. People want to know, what can we do? How will the county respond to us? Will they answer some more questions? So we've gone outside the box. We want to do something different. This isn't a Republican issue. This isn't a Democrat issue or an independent issue. This is a human issue where we all can face possible increases that could force some of our most vulnerable out of their homes. So we're concerned with this. So we're trying to put something together, and we thought we'd get ahead of this by starting to talk about it now. The chairman, last night I spoke to him. He's all for this, the vice chairman and other people in the group, and we want to make it a civil, respectful exchange of information between the citizens who are being affected and and our county commissioners and possibly our county manager. We've reached out to that person, and we're waiting on an answer. We're hoping that they will come. We're not looking to stir things up here. We're not looking to this to be an angry mob type of situation. This is, hey, what can we do? How can we improve it? I think some of the pushback is coming from where can we streamline? You know, how can the county help us save some of this money? They're taking in the money. How can we streamline so that we don't constantly have to push and raise and put all the burden on the homeowners?
Let me play the devil's advocate here just a moment. Now, when the Chairman Brian King was on my program last week right after the meeting, he assured our listeners that they are looking at this reval and they're looking at the budget and have said they would have a zero budget increase in taxes. So I think what the people are concerned about this time, that may be to what happens down the road. Is that the concern you're seeing?
It's exactly the concern we're seeing, because see, the evaluations are pretty high, and once they approve the evaluations of appraisals, you're locked in for a 4-year period. So what happens if the market crashes like it did in 2008? It's no longer a what if. I brought several charts in with me this morning. I'm looking here at the United States average weekly earnings income chart, and you can see by the chart here it's going down. People are earning less because things are getting more expensive. I'm looking at the FDIC chart, and this is about gains and losses. When you look at the FDIC chart, and the reason I'm mentioning these to people, I'd like you to Google them, bring them up on your phone or your computer. Don't take my word for it. Go and look for yourself, and you'll see that we're having major losses in these areas. These are signs that the economy is moving backwards. In fact, as of recently, I looked up and we saw that on average, number of homes sold was down by 26.2% year over year. So last January, or this past January, we sold 8,331 homes. Last January, we sold 11,193 homes. You see the market slowing. You see things going in a different direction. Well, if we're stuck with these high appraisals, who's to say that a couple years down the road we don't have re-elections and we have some other county commissioners that are voted in and won't be on board with that, and we're stuck with the higher assessment? So then where do we go, and how does that affect us? And that's what people are talking about. So we want some answers to that. And I think the people can do that. I think they understand that. They're reasonable folks here. Mm-hmm. People certainly can understand it. You've got a grandmother, you've got an older sister, you've got somebody in your family who's going to be affected. I was at church last night. One of the elderly ladies there that's on a fixed income, she says, Theo, this is probably going to force me out of my home. And she's lived there her whole life. She just can't push anymore with the medical issues that she's suffering through and with the enormous cost of inflation. Sure, she got an increase on her Social Security check earlier in the year, but it's all going to be absorbed because the prices continue to climb. You know, they're projecting the home prices for mortgages are going to hover around 7%. We haven't seen those kinds of numbers in a long period of time. Just think what that does to you if you're in a $200,000 or $250,000 home. You went from 2.45% just a few years ago to 7%. That certainly adds on to everything. I mean, maybe you haven't seen it, but your not your homeowners, but your auto insurance has recently increased. Maybe you got that letter. I got the letter from State Farm recently. Guess what, Theo? Your auto insurance everything is increasing. So we have reason to be concerned. We don't want to alarm people, but we do have serious questions, and people have them. In fact, someone phoned a question in here to the station a little while ago. It said, "Can you talk about the Homestead Exemption Act?" You know, I got to be honest with you. Jim and I were talking about it off air. I don't know much about it. I don't think there is one here. But they also asked, what is available for seniors? Those are questions that our county commissioners could help us with. When we have this meeting, please bring your best questions. Please bring the questions and concerns that you'd have. Let's have an open format. Let's be able to talk respectfully to one another, and let's see if we can't work out as a community a way to solve this so we can push forward so it's beneficial instead of harmful.
This is a question probably for the commissioner, but perhaps you know the answer to this. I'm not sure. Do we have to accept this revaluation? Can they redo that revaluation, or is it locked in iron?
You know, Jim, I couldn't answer that. Several people had asked me that, and you would hope that we would maybe have another evaluation, and because these evaluations they've given seem to be at the peak of the market, and the market's moving the other direction now, and the charts and the graphs from the national government seem to be moving the other way. So, I can't forecast this no better than probably looking at the stock market today. One day it's up and one day it's down, but I'm looking at it in a precautionary way, cautiously, trying to see where we're going and what's best. And, we all know that our home prices increased. If you sold during the peak of this, let's be honest, you made a little money. Or you were going to gain about this. And so we see where it would be understandable for some of this stuff to increase. But when you look at increases of 42, one of the neighbors I had said 57% their bill was an increase, proposed increase. That's a big number. It's hard to absorb if you're just a person that's retired here and you've got limited income.
I'm not here to accuse anybody of anything that I don't know about. But in past times when they had reevaluations, I've seen a lot of them come and go. The companies that did a lot of the reevaluation were accused of just riding down a highway and putting numbers down and not really examining the property, what the property's worth. Your property's worth maybe more than my property is.
Right.
So I don't know if that's happening or not, but it may be worth looking into.
Looking into it's worth asking that tough question to our elected officials. We should be asking those questions. I say, folks, don't come in with the question about what's your favorite ice cream flavor. Come in with a real question, because we want to get to the bottom of this, and I don't have all the answers. We're raising the concern, and we're trying to bring up the ability to have a meeting where we can talk to people and maybe get some answers.
Has a place been set up and a time been set up for this public meeting?
We do not, and we wanted to get ahead of that. Actively, as of yesterday, our vice chair was looking at several places. We're waiting on confirmation, but as soon as we get them, we'll notify you. We're going to do that in several ways. Hopefully Jim here is going to tell you the locations and the times. We will be posting them in the neighborhood watch boxes across our community on social media. So, Rutherford's got a community a neighborhood watch, Ellenboro, all these different places. We're going to be dropping them in there, and we're going to let you know the time, the place, and all that, so that we'll try to keep this community informed. We're just trying to put something together that will help the community and get some real answers.
We got to cut this conversation short, but just had a question called in. We'll close with this. Who sets this rate of evaluation? That's a commissioner question.
Yeah, that's a commissioner question, and the third party did this evaluation.
Yes, always.
So I've got some questions about the third party and where they come from and what their history is and the legitimacy. I think we all should be asking those tougher questions about where did we come up with this third party and who are they?
Yeah, and again, one of the caution, folks, this is not I'm going to throw a rotten apple at the commissioners kind of thing. It's just get questions answered.
Please take warning of that. We do not want to hang anyone from a flagpole. This isn't that kind of meeting. This is a open, honest meeting of real people asking serious questions and having serious concerns. We all have neighbors and loved ones that could be affected by this, and that's our concern.
And all of the commissioners have expressed their concern about how
absolutely.
This was. So they're as concerned about this as we are, but this opens up dialogue.
And I want to say this, Jim. Thank you, commissioners, for stepping up and for having this ability to have us have this conversation. There are our elected officials, and that shows character here. And I think that goes a long ways to this community. It should go a long ways to it, because they're willing to step up in front of you and answer those questions. And that's admirable.
And we'll keep you posted on a location when that is decided upon, and the date that is decided upon. We'll let you know that, and give you an opportunity to come out and express your thoughts and ask your questions. Theo, thank you for coming by today.
Thank you, Jim, for the opportunity to speak on this. I appreciate it.
It's 8:45. I'll be back in just a moment. Don't forget My Great America with Jim and Butch at 9:05 this morning. Right now, let's hear this, and I'll be right back.
Mission Health Center Rutherford is now open in Forest City, a multi-specialty clinic with care for the whole family. From routine preventative care to the treatment of chronic conditions, our providers offer a personalized approach to meet your specific needs. Now accepting new patients. Call 828-659-5741 to make an appointment today. Mission Health Center Rutherford. Quality care close to home.
There are plenty of drugstores in Rutherford County, but not all of them offer the same personal customer service that is offered at the Medicine Box of Rutherfordton. Laura Hodge and her team have trusted experience and professional service. You're not just a number to them, you're a friend. Make the Medicine Box of Rutherfordton your hometown drugstore at 200 Charlotte Road in Rutherfordton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 1, 287-7117.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance, helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Coming up this morning, a little after 9:30, we'll get back into the vault of treasured music and start playing some of the classic oldies that you enjoy so much. And we'll do that as soon as My Great America with Jim and Butch is over with, up until 11:30 this morning. Then after 3 o'clock today, we'll get back in that vault and do it again. And Kevin Pleasant will be here to give you a pleasant afternoon with your request. All happening right here at 100.9 FM, 590 AM. WCAB. Thank you for allowing us that discussion. We're not trying to raise any flames or anything. We just want to get give you a chance to ask questions about why it was so high. Everybody's reevaluation was extremely high, and we're wondering why that is that high. But we'll see if we can get some answers and have a public forum, a sensible public forum, with nobody getting angry at anybody. Right now, I'm going to step away from the microphone a little bit, get ready for My Great America with Butch in just a few moments. Meanwhile, I'll be back tomorrow morning. And as my days are narrowing down through here, I'll be here through the month anyway, at least, narrowing down. But we'll be back tomorrow morning bright and early with my early morning gospel hour, and then the Call Around the County newscast. And the things that are happening during the 8 o'clock hour are important tomorrow as well, so join us for that. Meanwhile, let's enjoy some classic oldies.
The music's on us.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. The job market remains strong in the U.S., where applications for jobless claims fell by 20,000 last week. This is despite the Federal Reserve's efforts to slow down the economy to try to tame inflation. The European Central Bank is set to announce whether it plans an interest rate increase. The fight against inflation is now playing out amid worries about some banks, says ABC's Rebecca Jarvis.
Wall Street is having a real gut check moment right now in the aftermath of that Silicon Valley bank failure, SVB's downfall, and now the DOJ and SEC investigations into the company have made investors rethink their assumptions about banks, and not just those mid-sized regional banks we've been watching, but some of the largest lenders.
That includes Credit Suisse, which has gotten up to $54 billion in money from the Swiss government. The U.S. is putting more pressure on TikTok as the White House told the company if its Chinese owners did not sell their stake in the popular video app, could be banned in the U.S. China's Foreign Minister Wang Wenbin said through a translator,
The U.S. has yet to prove with evidence that TikTok threatens its national security.
The U.S. says drone operators were able to wipe a drone of sensitive information before it went down in the Black Sea. The Pentagon today released video of that drone being sprayed with liquid by a Russian fighter jet, which also collided with its propeller. The state of Texas has taken control of the Houston School District, but the motivation is a matter of debate.
State leaders say Houston schools have been underperforming, that school board meetings have become a chaotic backdrop for infighting. But State Representative Al Green is pushing back.
We together will stand against the governor, and the governor can't take over just because he wants to. He has to have our cooperation. Right.
That Houston Democrat says the takeover of the schools by the state's Republican leadership is purely a political move. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
In Texas, a federal judge heard arguments in a case challenging the abortion drug mifepristone. No timetable on a ruling. You're listening to ABC News.
Paid for by government.com.
Did you hear? A recent stash of $20 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 50 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-935-7267, and you are guaranteed a $20 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-935-7267. Call now, and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $75 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-935-7267 now to secure your $20 gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-935-7267.
Another train derailment. This one was overnight in Arizona. There were no hazardous chemicals spilled. The train was carrying corn syrup. It jumped the tracks in a rural desert area. There are no reports of any injuries. Coming up today in the Senate, a vote on rolling back the war powers measure that authorized the 2 wars in Iraq. Republicans say it would send a message to Iran that the U.S. lacks resolve. The Senate's expected to start voting late this morning. Some in Israel are now so worried about the fight over the government's plans to overhaul the courts, they're mentioning the threat of a civil war. ABC's Jordana Miller has more from Jerusalem.
No end in sight to the national crisis gripping Israel over plans to overhaul the judiciary. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his government swiftly rejecting a compromise plan presented by President Isaac Herzog in a live primetime address to the nation. That plan limiting the Supreme Court's oversight in certain ways, but not stripping it of all its power. Herzog warning Netanyahu he'd heard a shocking degree of hate and willingness to fight from Israelis on both sides, what he said could lead to a civil war if a compromise is not found. Jordana Miller, ABC News, Jerusalem.
And unveiled by NASA, the prototype for spacesuits that could be used on the next mission to the moon. They're easier to move around, they're dust resistant, and they would be equipped with high-definition cameras. This is ABC News.
Adopt US Kids presents What to Expect When You're Expecting a Teenager. Learning the lingo.
GOAT, G-O-A-T, acronym, stands for greatest of all time. As in, spaghetti sandwiches for dinner? They're my fave. Dad, you're the GOAT.
You don't have to speak teen to be a perfect parent. Thousands of teens in foster care will love you just the same. Visit adoptuskids.org. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
Brian Clark, ABC News.
Cold temperatures will be with us again tonight. It will be another night with temperatures below freezing. We'll have clear skies with temperatures in the upper 20s to lower 30s. Another bright day Thursday, plenty of sunshine and a bit milder with highs in the middle to upper 60s. A mix of sun and clouds Friday, a couple of showers around. It's windy and warmer with highs in the low 70s. We expect widespread rain overnight Friday into Saturday. I'm meteorologist Amy Wilmoth in the Weather Center.
It is a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Another great getting up morning. Those of you who are just now getting up, it's going to be a beautiful day. Right now it's 34 degrees, warming up to about 63. And tonight dropping back to around 44 with some wind gusts. Wind gust today is going to be around 22 miles per hour, which affects the temperature when we're out there walking around. Getting in and out of the car, it affects that temperature. So I'm going to wear a long sleeve or a jacket or something until this wind dies down. It's 9:05. This is WCAB Rutherfordton.
It's time now for My Great America with Jim and Butch, a conversation about positive things about this great country. And now here are Jim and Butch.
For those who are watching by video, live stream, you see the chair is empty in the Blue Room, but Butch is on the road again, and he's with me live via telephone. Butch, good morning and welcome to My Great America.
You know, Jim, it's always wonderful to be with you. I appreciate the opportunity to talk. I mostly appreciate the chance to look across the table at you. And, you know, for anybody that wants to really have their thumb on the pulse of what's happening in our community, there's few places better to do it than to tune in to WCAB every day. And I was thinking, Jim, the clock, you know, we've been saying this for a while, but the clock is really starting to tick, isn't it?
It is, real quickly now. Moving on faster than we'd realized earlier, but it's ticking fast now.
Right. And so we've been saying for some time now that WCAB is going to have a transfer of ownership, and there's some final details that are being worked out, but some important approvals have come through. And so, Jim, every time we're together like this, I think it's just a precious opportunity for the community to have a chance to keep hearing somebody that has been so formative. You know, people through the years have talked about how radio is just not relevant anymore, and that's just not true. As a matter of fact, there are about 15,445 commercial radio stations in the United States. That was in 2021. That's almost double the number of radio stations commercially that we had in America in 1970. And so, Jim, for all the people that say, radio is just dying, what do you say to them?
Oh, I say absolutely. You're absolutely not correct. Think about how many radios are each household. One in the bedroom, probably, one in the kitchen, maybe one in the tool room. There are several radios in homes, and every automobile just about has a radio, and trucks and cars, and you listen to them in your workshop, and there's a radio everywhere that you look, and somebody's listening to some form of radio just about everywhere around the world. And I'm so glad many folks have chosen to make WCB their home for radio over the years.
Well, and you know what, Jim? One of the things, going back and looking at some past interviews that have been done with you, one of the things that I've heard you say, and I don't know if you coined it or not, but I really like the phrase, you talk about community-based radio. You talk about radio that reflects the heartbeat of a community. Can you talk a little bit about what that actually means to you?
Well, I think that's very important in the concept of what we have been trying to do here in my 36 years behind the microphone here is, and when I purchased the station, is the fact that local radio in a community needs to be just that. We need to be local radio. I have never had the desire to be a Charlotte-based radio station or try to compete with Charlotte or Greenville or Spartanburg. I want to do what people in this county wanted to do, know what the weather is for our location, know when the schools are closed because of bad weather, know if the roads are closed because there's an automobile accident over there, want to know who's having birthdays, where the fires are, and those kind of things people want to know about, and the information that we can dispense, regardless what to some people it may seem irrelevant, but some other people across other parts of the county, it's very important to them. It might, the fact that there's something happening in Cliffside, the folks up in Bills Creek may not have an interest in that, but those in Cliffside do. That's where the culmination of community radio comes together, because we're here to cover the whole gamut. And even folks, I found in my experience here, there's a lot of folks over in Polk County that tune here to WCB because they have not had that local flavor much there, so they've listened to us. And when folks call their birthdays in or whatever, they call their community announcements in, or they're having a chicken pie supper or a ham bake supper somewhere, and we can announce that, that's community involvement. And we've never tried to be a big city radio station. That, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, that has killed a lot of small market radio stations because they wanted to be the big boys. Right. They want to be big boys in town and try to compete with big cities. I never have wanted to do that. I want to be what people want here is a radio station they can communicate with and believe in and trust and have a lot of confidence in.
Jim, you're exactly right. And you know, the combination of local expressions of what our county is all about, you know, I think of, for example, it's been a hard 10 days or so with the 3 different businesses that announced that they were shuttering. But you know what? You look at entities like the Chamber of Commerce, dear friend Cindy Cobb over there, or Burgett over at Economic Development, or, you know, our county commissioners. You look at local service providers. You look at the hospital. You know, you look at the newspaper. You know, Lori Sperling knows that I'm an unabashed promoter of the Daily Courier because local news, local expressions of news and community interest is really, really important. And so we have in our history as a county, even though I've only been here about 5.5 years, we have a deep history of resiliency when we trust in God and work hard and realize that we can bounce back from these things. So it's a time to really celebrate and engage these different tools that we have in the community. WCAB, the Daily Courier, local service agencies. We can make it together, Jim.
Absolutely, and many folks this day and time depend on the social platforms to get the message out, and some folks do listen and watch those very carefully, but there are hundreds and hundreds of people that never pick up a Facebook page or whatever the rest of them are, and when folks send the message just to that platform, they're hitting a segment of community, but they're missing a large segment that don't know anything about it. I won't give an example of a concert that was presented recently, but we didn't know anything about it. We couldn't share that word about anything, and it was a free concert by the U.S. Air Force Band. But we knew nothing about that, so we could have helped spread that word had we known it, and that's what we do. That's what the business we're in is to share information with people to get them and call them to action. Call them action to the particular sale a store might be having. Call them to action a concert somebody might be doing or a church meeting somebody might be having. Call people to action. Let them know the who, what, when, where, and why. If we don't get to who, what, when, where, and why, then we're not doing our job.
Well, and you know what, Jim? This is where I've always seen in the several years that I've known you here, and we've been doing My Great America with Jim and Butch now for several years. I have always seen you approach WCAB as something that you're the steward of. So in other words, if there's a blood drive, there's some community event that's taking place, something good's happened in the county, if there's something we need to rally around, I have watched you steward the tool of radio to try to mobilize people, and that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Yes, it is. It really is. That one-on-one touch, and over the years we've developed, I feel like a family of listeners that I feel very close to, and I hope they feel that same way toward me, that we've established a camaraderie and a friendship. And when I do walk away, eventually, that's going to be the downside of my retirement, is not having the communication with these wonderful people that I've been able to talk to every morning over these years. But that's part of life going on. You have to step that to the next level. And it's time for me to see what else is out there. And I'll miss the audience. I'll miss my friends that listen to me every morning and call me about different things and share ideas, and we can discuss on the radio. So, but it's going to be a different face, but it's part of life.
Well, you know what has always tickled me, Jim, is when people have said things like, I know exactly if I'm on time or behind or need to hurry up in the mornings because I gauge the pacing of my breakfast, getting up, getting dressed, getting my shower, getting in the car. I gauge it by what segment of that morning program is actually being aired. You've heard that.
I have. I have heard that. It's always a pleasure here, folks. Say, if this comes on and I hadn't gotten out of the shower yet, I know I'm running late, so I gauge it what's happening. That is kind of funny. I like to hear that.
Well, and it shows that it's a big family. It's a big virtual family. But then most people don't get the opportunity. I've had the blessing and the privilege to observe this. You hear the clang of those chimes on the front door, and you don't know who's walking through.
That's
but
right.
Invariably, there are people that come in and they just want to talk to you about things. And I've told a lot of folks in the county that you've got another sort of assignment, which is to be sort of a county therapist, Jim.
Well, I appreciate the fact folks have confidence in my. I think I'm a good listener. I listen to what people have to say. And if I can help them, I certainly want to. And if I can, I can tell them I can and try to refer them to somebody who can. But that's the kind of friendship I feel like I've built. Not to my credit, but folks feel like they can talk to me as a friend, and I'm honored by that.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly a blessing, and there'll be some announcements that are being made, no doubt, in the days ahead. And I'm looking forward to walking with you, Jim, in the days ahead here on My Great America with Jim and Butch. Now, one thing that has struck me, Jim, tremendously recently, is this. When we look at the nation, it's clear, Jim, we're in trouble. We've got issues. We've got extreme challenges. And it reminded me some of what several writers recently have said, where they said we're on the front edges of what could be a new civil war. And God forbid that would ever happen, and we're going to invoke his name and believe that will never be the case. But it's always good for us to go back into history. And as we go back into history, recall what God has done in this nation. And I was reading again, you wonder how much our students anymore really get true American history. I was reading again about the Gettysburg Address and was reminded, that it was famously short. And a lot of people appreciate political figures that can give short speeches, don't they?
Yes.
and Jim Bishop, I'm going to say this, Jim Bishop appreciates that. He also appreciates meetings that start and end on time.
Yes.
So that's a different conversation. That's a different conversation. I have picked up these things in the several years I've known you. But this inspirational and famously short Gettysburg Address, it was praised at the time because it was focused on reinvigorating national ideals of freedom and liberty and justice in the middle of a civil war that was killing hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. And a lot of rhetorical critics, those people that look at speeches, said that President Lincoln was trying to heal a nation's wounds by defining what we should be. Now, what's very interesting for anybody that's gone to Washington, D.C., ever since Lincoln wrote it in 1864, there were multiple versions that have been reproduced, notably on the walls of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington. And it's named after Colonel Alexander Bliss. So he was the stepson of historian George Bancroft. And Bancroft asked Lincoln for a copy of the Gettysburg Address as a fundraiser for soldiers, which is kind of interesting. It was called the Bancroft copy. But because Lincoln wrote on both sides of the paper, Jim, the speech couldn't be reprinted. So Lincoln made another copy at Bliss's request. It's the last known copy written by Lincoln. He wrote 4, I believe, and the only one signed and dated by him. Today, Jim, that Gettysburg Address is on display at the Lincoln Room of the White House as a powerful, permanent reminder of things. And is a way of just encouraging people to remember the power of presidents who yield their hearts to the living God, and then also commit all of their ways to support the people. I thought I want to go ahead and read this again.
Yes, please.
So we all know how it starts famously. 77 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation or any nation so conceived and so dedicated can long endure. we are met on a great battlefield of that war. We have come to dedicate a portion of that field as a final resting place for those who here gave their lives that that nation might live. It is altogether fitting and proper that we should do this. But in a larger sense, we cannot dedicate, we cannot consecrate, we cannot hallow this ground. The brave men, living and dead, who struggled here have consecrated it far above our poor power to add or detract. The world will little note nor long remember what we say here, but it can never forget what they did here. It is for us, the living, rather, to be dedicated here to the unfinished work which they who fought here have thus far so nobly advanced. It is rather for us to be here, dedicated to the great task remaining before us, that from these honored dead, we take increased devotion to that cause for which they gave the last full measure of devotion, that we here highly resolve that these dead shall not have died in vain, that this nation under God shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. Abraham Lincoln, November 19th, 1863.
Powerful speech, powerful speech. I think every kid years ago in school had to learn that from memory as they came through elementary school.
You know, Jim, I remember the teaching of civics when I was growing up, and I'm dating myself, but I remember civics was taught, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights. We learned about all of the roots of the freedoms that make our country so great. And it's our watch, it's our time to make sure that these principled values are not lost. And it starts in our homes, our churches, and our community. And each one of us has a say. Each one of us has a place. Each one of us has a plan that God has for our lives. And it can feel like 3 steps forward and 2 steps back sometimes as a community or as a people, a family. But God has promised us if we cry out to him, he'll give us the direction that we need. So it starts here locally, starts in our county. So when you see the firemen, when you see the policemen, when you see somebody that's wearing a cap that shows that they were in the United States military, reach out to them and say thank you. Thank you for your service. It becomes a humble discipline anywhere you go. It is tremendously appreciated. You know, tell first responders you're grateful that they're there 24/7. You know, tell teachers how much you value and appreciate them. Tell your pastor that you appreciate their sacrifice and their service. The world is filled with people who need appreciation and gratitude, Jim, and it's our responsibility to take hold of our community. And you know, I think of the work. I'm going to say it again: the work that the Chamber of Commerce has been doing, growing fast, adding new members, and so in the face of disappointing news that can show up in the newspaper about businesses closing, we've been blessed with a huge county, beautiful natural resources, and a growing commitment to try to create the infrastructure through broadband development and the like infrastructures. We're going to get businesses to come here. It's a beautiful, beautiful part of the country, strategically located, and we all need to be appropriately a cheerleader for what Rutherford County can be.
And we don't need to take naps under that negative tree and say, oh, well, the sky's falling, look what's happened. We need to get up and realize that we have so much more to offer, and folks are looking into Rutherford County to move here in terms of starting their business here, opening up new businesses here. So it's sad that we're losing what we're losing, but we have lost things in the past, and we have grown from that. So we don't need to wallow under that negative tree and say, boy, the world's coming to an end right today because we lost all these jobs. Let's get up and find some ways to create some new ones. That's what we need to do.
Right, exactly. And then also to remember that we are blessed, you know, notwithstanding some of the leadership in the governor's office, we are blessed with a vibrant state of North Carolina, business friendly. It's a lot of things like Forbes magazine, Inc. magazine, as a business-minded state that's on the move, that financially has some resources and surpluses that many other states just don't have. So God's put us in a strategic position. Doesn't matter our age. I often think to myself, there comes a point where we're more valuable for what we know than what we do. And I have a real heart to try to coach, mentor, and encourage younger people. I think of R.J. Aiken and others in the community that are trying to make a difference for what we're becoming, not just what we were and not what we are right now. So I'm very hopeful for the days ahead, Jim. And you are too, aren't you?
Yes, it's an old trite statement. Over the years I've heard it, but it could be taken in a number of ways. But it's time to separate the men from the boys in times like these, and the men and the women with strong values and strong constitutions and strong abilities to move forward. It's time to do that and not be so comfortable in our past, but get ready to move forward. And I believe we have that kind of constitution in our people in Rutherford County, and I think that's what we're going to do.
Well, and all you have to do is look at the gnarled hands of some of the third and fourth generation farmers and workers and others that are here, Jim. I mean, we've got high-tech opportunities in the days ahead, but I think often of the multi-generation families that have toiled in the land, worked the land. I think of, we talked about them before, but I think of Bryson and his dad, Clay, and just the hard work of what they're doing that's literally helping build infrastructure, permanent things where someday you can drive by and say, I had the opportunity and the privilege and the blessing to help build that. And even some of the little small expressions of redevelopment in downtown Rutherfordton, there were people that bemoaned having to leave the RCGOP headquarters. But you know what? It's great because there's a sign up there now. There's a florist shop.
Yes.
And, and so we've got to make sure that we're adaptive and we're nimble, and most importantly of all, that we're humble enough to ask God to lead, guide, and direct us, because the complexities of the day that we live in are such that we're in trouble if we don't. And in those times where I've taken my eyes off Jesus, it's invariably created just a mess. And so as a people, as a county, we've got to remember our roots and our history. We've got to remember the constitutional freedoms of this nation. We have to rally together towards a goal. When George H.W. Bush spoke of America as being a shining city, a shining light on a hill, that actually was referenced out of Scripture. And it's true. I mean, there's more at stake for America than just America. We are still the last best hope for democracy around the world. And the battle at the heart and soul of America, Jim, is so much about trying to wipe out the light that we have been and we can continue to be, but not if we're lacking in humility or an understanding of our history and of God's purposes and plan for us.
Growth sometimes is uncomfortable for us. We've seen that over the years, and I can remember years ago when television came out. I don't remember when it came out, but I know when television came out, they said, "Oh, that'll kill radio. Radio's gone." But it did happen. Radio grew. And when FM came out, they said, "Oh, FM will kill AM." Well, it didn't. Rush Limbaugh proved that AM radio is still alive and well. And now all these iPods and special iPhone things, it said it's going to kill radio. Well, it's not. In many cases, it's enhancing it. So we get uncomfortable with changes, but we can rise above that and prove ourselves that we're still viable in this society.
No question. And one other quick example, you look at Sirius XM radio,
yes,
and, you could get niches. People that love to fish, there's the fishing channel, or women in trucking, or, all these micro niches, if you will. So we've got to stay positive, but we got to remember our history, and we got to remember that we are groping in the darkness unless we let God give us the light that we need each and every day. I sure enjoy our conversations. I love it when I'm in the Blue Room, but I'm glad that we can at least chat.
Well, you be safe on your travels, and we look forward to having you back soon, and we'll see you soon, and God bless America.
God bless America, Jim.
thank you for joining us for My Great America with Jim and Butch. Join us each Tuesday and Thursday morning at 9:05 for this enlightening program on 100.9 FM and 590 AM. It's My Great America with Jim and Butch.